Hi, it's 3 o'clock on Wednesday. So I'm just going to wait a few minutes because I actually announced this one ahead of time. So I'm hoping that maybe some others may join. I don't know about you, but I've been watching the Olympics. I've never seen slopestyle before. It's crazy. They like ski down fences. It's like an obstacle course. Maybe it's not a new sport, but it's the first time it entered my knowledge. I'd never seen anything like that before. It was fun to watch. I've also enjoyed the figure skating last night, although we didn't do very well. The women's short-term figure skating. Sorry, this is live, and I live near a fire station, and it looks like they're taking off. It's beautiful here in DC today. People sitting outside eating at tables and cafes. I was also thrilled to see Lindsey Vonn win another bronze medal, the oldest bronze female downhill skier, I think. So that was fun. Also during the figure skating, I've been doing a lot of Shazamming of the music. Loving the soundtracks, falling in love with the movie soundtracks, reminding myself that I love Il Postino. So trying to bring that more into my life as well. I'm hoping to go to a ballet class tomorrow, actually inspired by the Olympics. So we'll see if that happens. So today, I want to talk about the ways that chronically ill resemble Olympians. I want to welcome you to watching. You may be watching this on Facebook or on YouTube, which is where I'm also uploading them. This will be a weekly series. I think we're going to call it Wellspringer Wednesdays, just to keep it simple. And I plan to share insights and strategies and resources for those living with illness so that you can have ease despite disease. And I'm Cassandra Marcella Metzger. I'm a certified yoga therapist and the founder of Wellspring Stones, and a lifestyle redesigner, so that for women living with illness, so that you can have more beauty and more peace and more agency and meaning in your life, no matter what you're dealing with. So I thought today it would be fun to talk about what we have in common with the Olympians. So let's start with a story. I've been disabled for almost 20 years, since 2000, so 19 years. But about 15 years before that, I was temporarily disabled, and I had been a ballerina all through my youth and through high school. Even picked my college based on the fact that I would be able to dance ballet. But I had bone spurs. Like Donald Trump, I had bone spurs. I really did have bone spurs. And I actually, by the end of my first term, because I'd been dancing so much more, I was dancing a lot of hours in high school, but because the classes were free at college, I increased that amount. And by December, in the middle of a class, my teacher said to me, Cassandra, go to my office and take off your tights between the bar and the center work. I thought I was in trouble. So she comes in while the girls are doing their stretching. The class is, doing their stretching between the midpoint in the class. And she asked me to take off my tights and pointed to the back of my heels. And she said, "Doesn't that hurt?" And it turns out I had these like big red bumps on the back of both my heels. Stuck out about a half an inch and inflamed. And I said, "Yeah, it hurts, but, it's supposed to hurt. You're a ballerina. Your feet always hurt." She's like, "No, that's not normal." This is Hilda Morales. She was a former ABT teacher, a dancer. She said, "You need to go see a doctor." So for 6 or 7 months, I messed around with doctors. And in August of the following year, so right before going into my freshman year, I ended up having surgery on both my feet. And I did it both at the same time because all I was interested in was getting back to dancing. The doctor was like, "Well, no, we're just trying to get you to walk again." I had let it go so long that I couldn't wear socks, and I was walking around in the snow because I had damaged nerves. So they had to wait for that to heal, and then we did the surgery right before I went back to school sophomore year. And I ended up in a wheelchair because I couldn't walk after the surgery either. And I couldn't dance. So I used my creativity and flexibility and ended up doing synchronized swimming. I thought, well, if I can't do ballet on the ground, I'll do ballet in the water. And they had a synchronized swimming team there, and I did well and won my first and only athletic ribbon. we had a big party because that was never going to happen again. But I really used my brain in order to figure out what I needed to do to win. I looked at the book and figured out some poses and stunts that had higher difficulty. I didn't think they were more difficult, but that's how I ended up winning that ribbon. I'm telling you that story to show that being an Olympian or being an athletic winner is not just about using your body. It's also about being creative and flexible and using your inner strength and your inner, your brain. Our brains is an integral part of what we can achieve with our bodies as Olympic athletes, definitely now. So that's just as a background story. It definitely has informed how I've dealt with my disability now. Granted, then my disability was only temporary. I wasn't weak. I didn't have exercise intolerance like I do now, which just definitely makes it more challenging to figure out ways to move that don't cause me to be in bed for 3 days or a week or a month. But I want to focus on some of the inner qualities that we share with Olympians. So the first one is purity. We, like Olympians, have to prioritize caring for ourselves. Self-care is not a luxury, whether you're trying to compete in the Olympics or whether you are trying to survive a chronic illness. So we have to be careful about how we sleep. We have to be focused about what we eat. We use mindfulness and maybe visualizations in order to, athletes in order to visualize their success, for us to visualize getting out of bed. We have that same skill of prioritizing the purity that we need in our lives in order to thrive and survive. For them, it's to achieve and succeed. Us is simply in order to thrive and survive. So we have that definitely in common in that it's not something we take for granted and that we definitely prioritize. Number 2 is persistence. So just like athletes, Olympians, we encounter obstacles and things that seem insurmountable. And just like Olympians, we figure out workarounds. We overcome those obstacles. I tend to figure out workarounds rather than overcoming them because it feels like overcoming takes a lot more energy and physical ability to be able to climb up over an obstacle and reach the other side. So I try to use my creativity to work around whatever obstacles I'm dealing with. And athletes have to do that too. They're very persistent, and no matter how many times they fail, they get up again. And with chronic illness, same thing. You fail, you fail, you fail, you fail, you fall down, and you get up again. As many times as you fall down, you get up again. Sometimes you stay down for a while you figure out what the hell just happened. And that's okay. But eventually we get up and we try again. So we have that also in common. We both have guts and determination to do what we need to do. Again, for us to survive, but we don't give up. So that's the second thing we have in common with Olympians. The third one is passion. We have a commitment to achieve, a burning desire. For them, it's Olympic gold. But we do it, again, to survive. We meet life as fully as we can. And not all the time is that like everybody else, but we show up when we can. I'm sure you appreciate this as well. When you get sick, it sort of separates the wheat from the chaff. So the things that we are passionate about, we are much more passionate about. It magnifies sort of the things that we love more, and the things that we hate more. We can't abide. So that also, I think, is a factor in terms of how we direct our passions. So I think that that's important to keep in mind and to value. For athletes, their drive and love of the sport is what helps them prioritize their passions. For us, it's our drive and love of life that helps us to prioritize our passions. So I just wanted to share that with you. There was also, I wrote a blog post about it. I'll put the link down below. There's 3 others that I had, curiosity, humility, and one other that I don't remember off the top of my head. But I also wanted to highlight another article that was on the Mighty by a woman named Erin Migdol. And she highlighted 5 Olympians who are currently in South Korea competing for the Olympics with chronic illness. She mentioned an alpine skier who has lupus, a snowboarder with rheumatoid arthritis. That's the rheumatoid arthritis snowboarder. Her name is Spencer O'Brien, in case you want to look her up. And the alpine skier with lupus is Mark Oliveras. And so she features and talks about each of them. I thought it was really inspiring. Sorry, I want to take that down. I forgot to take that down. I'll put the link for that article also down below so that you can check that out. But she had some good reminders at the bottom that I also wanted to share that I thought were really helpful, especially as those of us who are sick or watching the Olympics and, feeling like a timing of grief of what we can't do with our bodies that we maybe want to do or used to be able to do. I think it motivates everybody to try to go out and work out. But I literally over the weekend had a bunch of days in bed. I went out for lunch on Sunday and came back and had to take a nap. So it can create a gap between what we wish was reality and what is our reality. But she had some helpful tips. So I just wanted to share a few of those. And that is that everyone is different in the way their illness presents themselves. So you might see an Olympic athlete who has lupus, but their lupus may be different than your lupus. And I find that very true. And not only that, with my illness, it's different at different times of the day and even over the course of the week. And so the point being that illnesses present differently in different people and in the same person over time. So we have to keep that in mind and not necessarily compare ourselves to Olympians who are competing, who have chronic illness. So that's one. Secondly, she reminds us that we only see the highs and the highlights. We don't see the dark moments. Nobody sees the dark moments. We only see our own dark moments, whether that's when we are upset emotionally, the dark emotional moments, or the moments where we're trying to do something and we are in excruciating pain because of something that we tried to do athletically. So that's also good and helpful to keep in mind and to remember. The third thing she notes is that elite athletes, and I spelled athletes wrong, have elite care. One of the people she features had POTS because of a concussion that she had when she was a speed skater. But she got great medical care and she's dealing with it. And she admitted, she said, I don't know what I would have done but for these doctors that I have access to. And in this country, in the United States, many of us do not have access to the healthcare that we need or the support that we need. If you're bedridden, I struggle getting meals. I don't have the support I need sometimes just to eat in the way that I would like to eat in order to be the healthiest and the best able. So it's something that we all struggle with, but those of us who are not athletic or elite athletes, don't have that kind of support. That's not all. Admittedly, not all Olympic athletes have incredible support, but most do. Really bugging me that I spelled that wrong. That's okay. And the last one that she said that we all needed to remember, again, this is Erin Migdol writing for the Mighty, is that we are all kicking butt. So whether you are doing slope style, is that what it's called? Down a mountain, or doing that downhill skiing on that icy snow, it would scare the hell out of me. I don't even know how she does it. It scares me that it's so icy, and I know it's been warm there. But for me, sometimes just getting out of bed feels like having achieved a 1.5 minute run down that mountain. Getting in the shower. I honestly, after the last few days, I hadn't showered for like 3 days. I felt like Ali Sheedy in the Breakfast Club. My hair really needed to get washed. So, we all have days like that. We all have dark moments, and we are all kicking butt, whether we are Olympians or not. So I just wanted to remind you of all that. I thought it was a nice supplement, a nice dovetail with what I had written last week as well. So I hope this was helpful and inspiring and insightful for you today. Like I said, tomorrow I've been inspired to try a ballet class. I can't even remember the last time I went to a ballet class, but I have a girlfriend who's ready to go with me. I said, I got my tights. She said I was just going to wear yoga pants. So maybe I'll wear my yoga pants too. But I'm very excited to do that. Watch me on my Instagram stories. If I make it there, I will, upload some shots of that on my Instagram stories. You can follow me at Cass Metz, CassMetz, on Instagram. I also have a business account, which is Wellspring Stones on Instagram. So you can follow both or either. I pretty much post everything in both places. But I want to invite you to join my community of Wellspringers. We have a great Facebook group, and I have a newsletter, and I create a whole bunch of freebies, and I would love to have you join us and join our community of Wellspringers over on Facebook. So that's it for today. I hope that you are doing well and that you will consider what you can do physically, forgive yourself for what you can't, and stay flexible and creative and use your mind, because it's just as important part of your body, to figure out what you can and cannot do, to work around those obstacles that you're encountering in your life because of your chronic illness. Okay, thanks so much for watching.